Did you know that about 93% of US workers are covered under Social Security? That means nearly everyone who's working is paying into it. But here's the catch. Not everyone is eligible for full Social Security benefits. That gap between who pays and who can actually get benefits causes a lot of confusion. Hi there, I'm Anthony Janak, and today we're talking about Social Security coverage. Social Security is one of the biggest safety nets in the U.S. It provides retirement income, disability benefits, and benefits to surviving family members. But who exactly is included in the system? Who pays into it, and who can expect to get benefits out of it? A lot of people assume everyone is covered by Social Security, but it's not that simple. There are plenty of misconceptions out there. Some people even believe that all government workers are covered by Social Security. Others think if you're self-employed, you might be outside the system. And many don't realize that if you were hired by the federal government before a certain date, your situation might be different. So why does this confusion matter? It matters because if you're not covered, you might not be paying certain Social Security taxes, and you or your family might not get full benefits or any benefits at all. Misunderstanding can lead to the wrong expectations when planning for retirement, thinking about disability coverage, or figuring out what your family would receive if something happened to you. Who is and who isn't covered? Let's break it down by category, looking at who is covered by Social Security and who is not, or only partially covered. Private company employees are typically a yes, they are covered. If you work for a private for-profit company, you pay into Social Security and Medicare through payroll taxes, often called FICA taxes. So if I work for a private company, what if I'm self-employed individual? Yes, they're covered too. If you're self-employed, you pay into Social Security through the self-employment tax, also known as SECA. You do have to earn a certain minimum amount of your work to count towards Social Security, but most self-employed people who make more than a few $100s do pay in. All right, so the private side is covered. So what about federal civilian workers? It depends on when you were hired. If you're hired in 1984 or later, you're under the federal employment retirement system, and you are covered by Social Security as you pay Social Security taxes out of your paycheck. But if you were a federal employee hired before 1984, you stayed under the old Civil Service Retirement System, or the CSRS. You might not be covered by Social Security, and those employees did pay Social Security taxes while under CSRS, so they often don't get Social Security benefits from their jobs, unless they also worked some other job when they paid into Social Security. So we're talking from the federal level, and then so what about state and local government employees? This one is tricky. Some are covered and some are not. Many states have special agreements called Section 218 agreements that include their public employees in Social Security, but in other places, public workers are part of older pension systems that never joined Social Security. About 6.6 million state and local government workers today are not covered by Social Security. This group often includes teachers, police officers, firefighters, and other public employees who have their own separate retirement pensions. So we talked about private employees at private companies as well as governmental employees. So what if I want to work at a nonprofit organization? Generally, yes, they are covered just like other workers as long as they earn above a small threshold. Nonprofit employees pay into Social Security out of their paychecks, despite the organization itself being tax exempt. All right, what if I'm a government employee like a military member? Yes, people serving in the U.S. military pay into Social Security and earn Social Security benefits for their service. Military pay has been covered by Social Security for many decades. So you covered a lot of things, Tone. Are there any special cases? There are a few groups of workers with separate arrangements or exemptions, such as railroad workers have their own retirement system, which is the Railroad Retirement System, instead of standard Social Security. Their system is separate, though it's coordinated with Social Security in some ways. Then if you want to be a certain religious worker, for example, some clergy can opt out of Social Security for religious reasons. If they do, they don't pay in and won't receive benefits based on that work. There are other exemptions, such as a few small categories, like some students working for a school or election workers earning below a threshold might be exempt from Social Security taxes. Also, as mentioned, some public sector workers in specific retirement systems don't pay into Social Security on those jobs. Now here's a surprising fact. Even though about 93 to 94% of workers are covered by Social Security, a lot of people assume everyone, especially government employees, is in the system. That's not true. There are tens of millions of public employees and some others who are outside the Social Security system. Your pay stub might not make it obvious, but if your job is one of those exceptions, your Social Security benefits could be very different or even non-existent from the job. It's important to know this so that you don't get caught off guard when you think about retirement or other benefits. So in summary, Social Security coverage is very widespread. Roughly 9 out of 10 workers in America are part of it. Most people working in the private sector, most nonprofit employees, the self-employed, members of the military, and federal workers hired after 1983 do pay into Social Security and will qualify for benefits. However, there are key exceptions. Certain state and local government employees, many longtime federal employees who started before 1984 under CSRS, railroad workers, and a few others may not be covered by Social Security. Not understanding who is covered versus who isn't can lead to big surprises. It can affect your retirement plans, your disability coverage, and what your family might receive after you're gone. What about you? Do you know whether your job is covered by Social Security? It's worth checking into. Ask your employer or look at your pay stub to see if Social Security tax, often labeled as OASDI, is being taken out. You can also check your Social Security statement online and see your credited earnings. If you found this helpful, please consider liking and sharing this information so others can learn about it too. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing so you don't miss the next video. In our last video, we talked about what fully insured, currently insured, disability insured was, and how to qualify for that. So insured statuses of the Social Security system. So if you watched, thank you for watching and have a good one.